Thank you so much for being a part of the LCSW Vibe Tribe. Yes, and I'm doing something special for you guys for Social Work Awareness Month. Yes, it is Social Work Month. We're in March. So I don't know when you're watching this video, but if you're watching it in March, we're offering an additional 10% off everything on our website. And check this out. We're doing free one-to-one strategy sessions for anybody that joins the course. In addition to the free coaching, it gets no better than that. I'm not trying to be funny, but it absolutely gets no better than that. We're going to give you everything you need to succeed. So tap in. Check the link in the bio. All right, guys, it's your girl, Ariza, a licensed clinical social worker with over a decade of experience helping people just like you pass the LMSW and LCSW exam. I've coached dozens of people to test taking success, and now I'm here to help you do the same thing. So whether you're a first timer or repeat test taker, this is a place to get the tools, the strategies, and the mindset you need to level up and pass the exam. So we're going to jump right into it. Today, we are going to be talking about the essential parts of the social work helping process. Many of you are familiar with the social work helping process, but I'm going to break it down so you can have a practical approach that's going to help you empower your clients, but also lots of people like to use the social work helping process on the exam. So let's break it down and see if it can help you. So here we're going to go over the core stages of the social work helping process. You're going to learn practical techniques for engagement and goal setting, and you're going to be able to apply the process ethically and effectively. And we're going to jump in. So first and foremost, you're asking, what is the helping process? The helping process is a structured approach to empowering clients and solving problems. Empowering clients and solving problems. You got those two things. There are different stages too. You have the engagement stage, the assessment stage, the planning stage, the implementation stage, the evaluation stage, and the termination stage. And of course, we're going to break down all those stages. The main focus of this process is client-centered and culturally competent practice. That is the main focus of using the helping process. So let's go ahead and jump in and talk about the different stages. All right. Stage 1, engagement. The goal here, is to build trust and rapport with the client. So during the engagement stage, you want to connect with the client. You want to let them feel like you understand them. You're building that connection. You're making them begin to trust you, or allowing them to trust you. It's not a forced process. This is something natural. A lot of social workers, believe it or not, struggle with building rapport and getting their clients to trust them. So I always tell people, be who you are, be authentic. People can feel it. They know when you're being real. So some techniques here is just active listening. Just listen to the client. You don't have to be the one to provide all the information, provide all the wisdom. You can actively listen to what they're saying. Nod your head, smile, give some acknowledgement that you hear and you're connecting with what this person is sharing with you. Show empathy. Have some understanding that you can feel or understand what they're going through. And of course, you want to ask open-ended questions. You want to ask them a question that's going to allow them to elaborate. So an example would be, can you share what brings you in today? Not something that's going to allow them just to say yes or say no. You're going to ask them something that's going to make them think a little bit and have to elaborate on the situation. All right. An activity you can do with yourself and maybe another friend that's practicing for the exam, or a coworker, or someone you're mentoring, is pair it for 1 minute and do a mock introduction. See how you would build that rapport, that connection. See if that person is able to honestly tell you that they feel connected or feel like you really care or that you're genuine. This is an activity that I've done sometimes in supervision with my supervisees. I want them to feel like when they're talking, and even though other people are listening and we're kind of like judging or critiquing, so to speak, that they can truly be authentic and be open to the feedback that they might receive from their peers on whether they're able to actively listen, show empathy, and build that connection and rapport with clients. Stage 2, the assessment stage. This is where you begin to understand the client's needs, their strengths, and their challenges. Some techniques here, some genographs, some eco-maps, some biopsychosocial assessments. That's pretty much what we use mostly. And the tip here is that you always want to ask about any cultural or environmental factors that could be impacting the client overall. That is super important, that you're culturally aware and competent when you're working with the clients. An example here would be a client is struggling with housing and employment. So in the assessment process, when they're telling you they're struggling with the housing and employment, you might want to get a little bit more background, a little bit more meat, a little bit more information on what challenges have been presented that is causing that to be a problem. That is all done during stage 2, the assessment stage. Now, before we jump into the next stage, you can see how someone can use this on the test taking part. Because if you have a question and it's asking what do you do next, or what do you do first, or what is the best approach, you could go through this process and see that first and foremost, are you building a rapport? Are you connecting with the client? Are you aware? Are you there? It all in the stage 1. And then you can move on to the stage 2 before you assess. So before you jump into assessing the client, you want to build that rapport and connection. So that's letting you know the different phases you would go through. All right, stage 3, you want to plan. This is where we collaborate on some SMART goals and you have an action plan. So the goal might be to find stable housing within a 3-month period. So here, the client needs to do this in 3 months. We want to prioritize their input. We want to use a strength-based approach and empowering the client to realize that they can accomplish this goal. It's going to take some hard work, but you're going to support them and provide them with the supportive resources and the assistance they need to work towards that specific goal. That is all in the planning process. The 4th stage is where we're going to actually implement this stuff. So we've connected with the client, build a rapport, we've assessed them to see what their needs are, and then we're moving on now to not just coming up with an outline or the goals of the plan, but we're going to talk about the implementation stage. So the goal here is to plan and to put that plan into action with the interventions that's going to help them get there. So some techniques here might be crisis intervention. You got some CBT, some motivational interviewing. Here, another thing you can do is role play and use some motivational interviewing techniques with your peer or in your supervisions with your supervisor. You can actually do some role playing and do some motivational interviewing techniques and what you would do if you're dealing with a reluctant client and you're trying to help them in the implementation stage. These are just some ideas and suggestions that you can do to help elaborate on this specific stage that you might be struggling with or not really knowing how to do it in real life with the client. That is what the scenarios at the bottom are for. The last stages, you heard me say stages because they're combined together. We got stage 5 and 6. This is where you evaluate the progress, what's been happening, what's been going on with the client, and then you move towards termination. So in the evaluation stage, you're going to monitor the progress and we're going to adjust the plan as needed. Maybe some things need to be adjusted, just not quite right. That is what we're going to do during the evaluation stage. And then the termination, this is where we prepare the client to independently move towards their process on their own. And we celebrate the progress that they haven't made. So does it all happen that fast? No. You can be in certain stages for various amounts of time, just depending on the goal and the specifics of that client's goal and what they're trying to reach and obtain. So some examples here is you want to review successes and you want to acknowledge them. Be excited, be happy. You got it. You did the darn thing. Yes, you want to empower our clients. You want to let them know that you see their progress and you're here to help and guide them and you appreciate their hard work and dedication towards working towards their goals. And then you also want to provide them with future resources that might be beneficial and might help them in the long haul as it pertains to their overall goals in getting there. All right, let's talk about some ethics in the helping process. So there's some key principles. You have the NASW Code of Ethics. You can also Google it. You can download the PDF. In my course, I have it readily available. You can just click a link and you're right there. And I also have little smart guides and memory aids that help you break down the NASW Code of Ethics and have a better understanding of it. And then you can also understand how you have to maintain boundaries. I know we want to all help our clients because see, it's the helping process. So we're helping the client, but we also want to make sure we're setting boundaries and we're maintaining those boundaries. We also want to make sure that we're culturally competent and we're practicing that with the client. We want to show the cultural humility. We want to show the cultural competence. All those things that help us be better clinicians and better social workers. These are the things we want to execute and utilize when dealing with the ethical parts of the helping process. So quick case examples here is handling dual relationships ethically. So if you're helping a client through the process and then you somehow have a dual relationship with them, I've done a whole presentation and a training on it, so I'm not going to do it here. You can just watch that video. You want to make sure that the client can understand and that you're working with them ethically and appropriately and they feel like you're there for them, regardless if you're set up and put in a situation where there's a dual relationship. Some dual relationships are just bound to happen, but some of them can be preventable, and that's something you're going to need to watch the video to learn more about or also process it with your supervisor. Some key takeaways I want you to take I told you this training was going to break it down. I did it in less than 10 minutes. I'm hella proud of myself. And I want to just make sure you have these key takeaways. The helping process is flexible, but it's also structured. So you know you have all those stages that you must go through. But it's flexible. You can stay in certain stages for a longer period of time, but at least gives you a guide on what you do first, then what do you do next, and so forth when you're dealing with the client and helping them through this process. Make sure you always center the client needs and goals. That is a paramount piece of this helping profession model. You want to make sure that you are helping the client and that their goals and everything they need is right in the center of everything you do. And then you also want to apply some ethical principles at every stage. You want to ask yourself, pause and stop and say, is this ethically appropriate? Am I doing what I need to do to help this client? And so forth. These are the questions you want to ask yourself at each and every stage of this amazing helping process. So, what's one technique that you'll start using immediately with your clients? Drop it in the comment section. Let me know what's one technique you'll start using immediately. I'd love to hear from you. I want to make sure this video was helpful. If it was, just give me more. That's all you got to put in the comment section. That lets me know you want these videos to keep coming and that they're helpful for you and they're helping you get to your bottom line, which is passing the exam and earning those 4 letters. Until the next one, make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm telling you guys, we want everybody to win. Be blessed. Until the next one.